This is Rel. Welcome to the back of the classroom. Today we're going to give a special shout out to Magical Pose. I am a brand ambassador for. You can find them on Instagram, Magical Pose, MAGICALPOSE. And you can find them online at magicalpose.com, MAGICALPOSE.com. Due to COVID, shipping delays can range from 7 to 14 days after processing. First email is with the receipt. Your second email is when it's shipped with a tracking number. And if you want a discount, use promo code for Magical Pose MPREL333. MPREL333 at checkout. Give you a nice little discount there. I want to thank everybody who's donated to Magical Pose, who's helped support this platform. Anyone who want to continue to show support and donations, you can send through Cash App, $KINGREL333. That's Cash App, $KingRel333. Anybody want to reach out, social media, you can find me on Twitter, KingRel333. You can find me on Facebook, Rel Jackson. You can find me on Instagram, Rel Jackson, and YouTube, Rel Jackson. And I would like to give a special thanks to those who's liked, commented, repost, shared. All those things help the platform grow. Even if you save it and queue it up. So everybody who's listening, please feel free to hit the like button, share it. Let's get it out there for everybody to hear. Message might not be for you today, might be for you tomorrow. And let's get into it. Today's topic, it's more along lines of appreciation, but it's entitled, If You Don't Do It, Someone Else Will. Might be a strong topic for some, but it shouldn't. I've come to do some soul searching and was having a few conversations with a few of the elders and older people, and even young people and people my age. We're all conditioned to do that from young as a baby. You go to the person who's going to give you what you want. So babies go to their moms who nurture them and nature them. The person who makes you feel secure is the one you go to when you're scared. If you know whoever's going to help you, whoever's going to comply with what you want, is a person you generally tend to go to. Even if you grow up and you look at the working world, it's always the hardest working person that the boss always want to seem to lean on. And it's because they appreciate or they understand your value and they want to use you for that. Where you might not always feel that, or you might not interpret it that way, and you feel like it's a lot of pressure, and it is. Nobody should be around you or be doing your job if you have to take sole responsibility. If that's the case, give me all the money and get rid of them. Same thing was used back in school. If you did a project with somebody, or you was a group project, and you had 4 people and you did all the work and other people just want to put their name on it so they can say they got the credit, you kind of want to, nah, take your name off. We ain't doing that. Because you didn't have any input on it. You appreciate the value that I put in. But of course, if you don't do it, someone else will. They know that, which is why they chose not to do it, to allow somebody else to do it, and then they want to chime in on it. So depending on what side of the spectrum you're on with it, you're a product of it. We can break it down to supply and demands. When it comes to a store who sells quality merchandise, you're competing with everybody else, because if you don't do it, somebody else will. If you go to a supermarket, they don't have what you want, you don't go there. You could talk to a manager, but some convenience of what it is that you want to go to a place where you can get majority of the things that you need, if not everything, and be able to get everything you want and then leave. Most establishments know that, so they try to provide a wide variety of things so they can cater to everything that you want, because they know if they don't do it, somebody else will. And then it goes to competitive pricing. Oh, do you want to spend all your money, or you want to get quality for a fair price? and they can go as low as they can without cutting into their budget. Because you got to remember, anybody who has a business isn't just selling you things just to give it away to you. There's a lot more that goes into it. So when you want to patron someone's services or goods store, so on and so forth, their business, you have to understand, one, they have their own overhead. They have their at home expenses, their business expenses, and this is how they're going to make a living. Now you might go, oh, they have all the money in the world. What do they need more for? All right, fair point. But then understand, everybody who has a large amount of money hires people to do things, which means they're giving other people employment. So they have to pay people. So they might need all that money, but they have so much money coming in because they have to also pay so much money out. So the money's in constant motion. You can't always go, oh, well, they got it, they don't need it. I mean, unless they just sticking money under the mattress and you have no idea what their goals are, they might not trust the bank. They might not feel like, when they need it, they don't want to run to a bank just to go, oh, I got to go and possibly get mugged or robbed or somewhere just because I can have it here, fortify my house, and I'm good. But for whatever reason they have that amount of money, it's for their expenses. It's for whatever it is that they need to do when they need to do it. So just understand, when a person has a business, when a person has an establishment, they have to pay their rent. They got to keep their lights on. If they got kids, they got to feed their kids. They got to feed themselves. Everyone who's been affected by COVID understands, you go to the supermarket, prices done going up. It seems like there's a bigger hole in the bagel. There's less cheese on the pizza. It's like you feel like quality is now being sacrificed because everybody's trying to cut corners, where the person who's giving you quality, you kind of want to pay that price that they offering you because they're giving you something nobody else isn't. And if they don't do it, somebody else will, and then it goes into them. So it's almost like a love-hate thing. Everybody's giving to get, and it's a mutual respect. Even the people who call themselves a boss. If you're a boss and you don't answer to nobody, that's actually false. Because whatever it is that you're doing, you're providing for your people. You serve the people. So that's the responsibility of a boss. A boss has to look to the people that he's trying to get their business. As an employee, you only got to worry about satisfying the boss. Whatever the boss say. When you're a boss, you got to deal with what everybody has to deal with. And unfortunately, that's a tough burden. And a lot of people don't understand that, or they might not appreciate that. So we having a conversation. Let's talk about your wants and needs. You got wants, some things you want, some things you need. Let's get to the needs first, because your needs are your necessities, right? What are your needs? Food, light, a means of cooking. So if that's electricity, cool. If it's not, you use gas, you use gas. So there's certain utilities that you require. Those are your needs. Now, if you can shop around for the best prices, that works in your favor. And a company has to understand, all right, I have to compete. And the way of competing is for the patronage and the people who are going to buy my service. So if they don't do it, somebody else will. They're not gonna sit there and compete with one another and go, hey, listen, let's raise our prices by $10 and let's both sell electricity for a certain amount, or let's all sell the gas, or let's all raise the prices of things amongst each other, and we'll force people to buy things at a higher rate. So now companies are talking to one another. I'm like, listen, instead of cutting each other's throat, we could all raise the price and have simultaneously prices. Now all we're gonna do is compete with who got the better product, because we're gonna sell our products at the same price. The only thing that's gonna be different is the quality. And now we're all faced as people having to figure out how are we gonna deal with this new way of business trends if that's what they're gonna do. So be thankful everybody's greedy. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's thinking, if somebody don't do it, I will. So somebody's going to want to cut lower than the competition. And that's when the prices start to get scarce. So when you hear, if you don't do it, somebody else will, don't take offense to it. Just understand that's the way we've been bred to be this entire time. And if you remove yourself out the scenario, don't feel entitled, don't feel like you're special. Understand that's the nature of this machine that we're in. And the machine is teaching us and has cultivated our brains to believing and understanding the concept of competition, of understanding variety, of understanding quality. So now that we're looking at all these different things, because it's not like we drink water and eat bread to sustain ourselves, we like flavor. And no matter where you go, no matter what you do, there's going to be competition, because the competition is what you don't do, somebody else will. It's the mindset. You're just, depending on the side of the spectrum you're on, you might feel away. As a boss, I'm the one who's looking for quality. And I'm looking to see who has the best quality. I want what I want when I want it. Oh, you're not going to do something for me? Listen, if you don't, somebody else will. I'm not going to trip over it. Now I'm gonna speak. Now that's me speaking from the other side. Now I'm the consumer, and I'm gonna say I want something. I walk into a store. I'm talking to somebody, whether it's for business or pleasure, regardless of what it is. Even in a relationship, when you're dealing with people on a one-on-one basis, you're at a job, whatever the situation is. If I want something, and you don't want to give it to me, I don't have to force you. I don't have to force you to do anything. You don't want to? No problem. I can go over there and get it. It might hurt your feelings. It might bother you. You might want that loyalty, but, turn the tables. Here I am wanting something. Here you are telling me you're not going to provide it, or you can't provide it. Should I go without because you can't provide? Is that fair to me? Or is it only making you feel better? But what about my quality of life? Or what if it's something that I actually need? Are you sympathetic to my situation, or should the focus just be on you and what's going on with you? And then technically, if I'm not even taking money out your pocket, I want something specific, you don't have it. I want something from you, you can't give it. If I go somewhere else to get it, it shouldn't affect you no way possible, because you was incapable of providing it anyway. So you got to take your emotions out of it because you couldn't do it, or you wasn't in a position to do it. And I'm not knocking you for not being in a position to do it, but that's only coming from your perspective. Sometimes you got to look on the other side and realize if somebody wants something, either you're going to go and you're going to get it, provide it, or you're going to have to be okay with them going somewhere else to get it. Otherwise, nobody should be obligated to do less or not get because someone else might feel away. That's not how we was brought up. When you was a child and you went to your mother, you didn't think, how is my dad going to feel? Or if something happened, you went to your dad, you didn't think, how your mother going to feel? You literally just went where you needed to go to get what you wanted, and you was perfectly fine with it. So if you're perfectly fine with doing things of that nature, why is it when we get older, that phrase become a trigger for people? It shouldn't be a trigger. It should be almost like a reality check. If I walk into a store and I want a dozen eggs and there's eggs missing, I'm pretty sure we've all seen it done, if not done it. You start swapping out eggs. And so you can take the carton that you had, you replace the eggs. You don't go look for a carton with, I'm just swap this one out because I like this and I'm going to take it, I'm going to go. When you go to the store, if they don't have what you want, you don't argue with the store and go, hey, why don't you have this, and this? I'm not leaving until you go get it. Nah, you ain't got it. Cool, no problem. I'm going to head out and go elsewhere. We do it in stores. We do it when we're searching for schools. If they don't have the background or the classes that you want, you go somewhere else. You go to where you want to go because they're going to provide you with all the things that you'd want. Or I'm hoping you're going where all the things you want to provide it. Now, let's say you don't know. It's part of growing up and learning, right? You got to go and you got to explore. You got to look into certain things. You have to figure out life. So I tell people to date. Go out there, meet people, talk, interact with people. Learn what turns you on, what turns you off. Learn what you like, learn what you love. Learn what you don't like, learn what you hate. The more you figure out, the more you interact with people, you learn about yourself. Because there's certain things you don't know until you interact with people, which is the point of this podcast. Like we got to keep involved with these conversations. We got to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the great. We got to keep the conversation going. We got to normalize it because we shouldn't feel a way about certain things, or we shouldn't allow our emotions to dictate what we do. It's too often that somebody can want something, and because we disagree, all of a sudden there's People are now arguing and breaking up friendships and ruining friendships because they disagree. Since when a belief causes you to lose out on friends? Like, we should be growing as a people, not isolating ourselves because we don't agree with certain things. Everybody can have their own beliefs. That doesn't stop you eating, providing for your family. We all have different lanes. You went to school with some people, you work with some people you know from the barbershop, some people you know from the tattoo shop, some people you know from the mall. You should know people from different walks of life, from your evolving walk of life. And you shouldn't isolate yourself with walking through life not knowing people, because once you get to your destination, who you there with? Who did you link up with? Who did you associate with? How did you build? How did you get to where you're going if you had no one? How far has anyone gotten if they have nobody? The richest people who've worked and came up with a business had to form their business not just around them, but the people that they're going to provide their business for. People who want computers, there's a computer company out there making computers for you. iPhones. Look at these businesses who are providing technology and improving certain things for who? For themselves? They just want to have a select group of people? No, they realize they found something that works and people are gravitating to, so they're going to want to keep providing a certain service. From what I've seen, their operating system is what sells. Not necessarily the phones, the operating system, the security, that peace of mind that they have. Where other people, they're more gravitated to Androids and they're more into the technology and what they can do with it. It's all about what the consumer wants. If you're going to provide everything that I want, I'm going to go this way. If you're going to provide everything they want, they go that way. But guess what? Both phones talk to each other. Both phones can be on the same network. And at the end of the day, it's more about what it is you want. What are your preferences? And if a company whose let's say specialty is one specific thing, they can learn. This is where they talk about demographics. Based on what their specialty is, figure out what the majority of the people want and try to get as much of that as possible into their system or into their product. So just look at everything else in life. When you meet a person, if they can't do everything you want, that's cool, but let them know where you're at with them. If you want something from somebody and they can't do it, listen. Just to make sure everyone is on the same page, let it just put it out there. Make it a reminder. Listen, you know what you don't do, somebody else will. Give them an opportunity. Now, if you talk to somebody and you go into a store and they don't have something, and unfortunately you buy everything except that, you got to go somewhere else to get it. Don't just walk out the store. Say something. Hey, listen, you know, it'd be really good if you guys sold this, and that. Because now I got to go to another store to get it, and I wouldn't mind coming here to get everything that I want. Give them an opportunity to get it. And then if they can provide it for you, they understood. If they don't do it, somebody else will. That's a concept that businesses understand. Now, you're in a relationship and you want to keep somebody, or you want somebody around you, people tend to do more for those people because they realize they want that person always around. So when you want them always around, what is it that they're leaving you for? What are they going out there for? Are they going to go out there to go to a party and you're not invited? Are you going to the cookout and you're not invited? So you got to figure out ways where you can be invited. So you want to be more available. You want to make sure you can do things that's more to the things that they like, so that you can stay around them. Otherwise, if you don't mind it, sure, let them go about doing what they do, and you have your thing and they have their thing, and y'all come together for the things that y'all enjoy. But once again, you have to also remember and respect other people's preferences, what they want. You can't put your feelings above somebody else when it comes to what they want to do, or what it is that they want, what it is that they need, what are their demands, what are they supplying. You can't force anything on somebody. You have to only accept what it is that they have. You can suggest it. You can tell them how much you appreciate and like the things that they have, whether it's quality, quantity, or both. And you would hope that they can provide it. And if not, you gotta respect it. Respect their choices the way you want your choices respected. Because at the end of the day, you can't force anyone to do anything. You can't force anybody to stay. That's called kidnapping. You can't force anybody to do what you want. It's coercion. And depending on the way you choose to go about it, I don't know the criminal statistics or the exact penalties for it, But certain contracts are null and void because you did certain things under duress. You have to be able to do things on a clear conscience. It has to be your free willing choice. And you have to respect people's free willing choice because you want people to respect your free willing choice. Regardless of how emotional or attached you might feel about that person, you have to understand this is who they are. The same way how a man can be with a woman, the man want to go talk to another girl, the girl want to address the girl. Girl ain't got nothing to do with that. Address the person you're dealing with. If a girl's dealing with a man and the girl talks to another guy, that guy want to talk to that guy. You pimping backwards, player. You can't address you address the person you deal with. Address the person you have the relationship with. They're the ones who broke your trust. They're the ones who obviously isn't satisfied or willing to go outside whatever it is that y'all guys have in order to look for something more, entertain it, engage in whatever it is that they want to engage in. That's their personal choice. Let them do that. If that's the choice that they want to make, let them do it. And this is not talking emotions. At the end of the day, yes, anybody is going to feel away. It's going to hurt. It's going to bother them. I get it. But if you ain't doing something or this person is interested in doing something over there, take your emotions out of it. That's a personal choice that person made. Your job is to determine what it is you want to do after that. Somebody's doing something you don't necessarily agree with, you can remove yourself from the situation. You're going to force somebody to do something. You got to convince somebody to do something. You can't just tell somebody what it is. You have to now do something extra or come out of character because your words wasn't good enough or something that you're doing isn't good enough. Let it rock. It should be okay. That's the choice they want to make. Respect their decision like they should respect yours. And if they don't respect your decision or you don't respect you, that's something you need to think about and remove yourself from the situation. Be honest with yourself so you can be honest with others. Understand nobody should feel like they're settling. Nobody should feel like they're not getting what they want and they just have to just take it. If you feel like, or if you've ever told somebody you should be happy with what you got, okay, put the shoe on the other foot and imagine somebody telling that to you. Regardless of what it is, you might feel like what you're saying is right and it's cool and that's how it should be. Okay, I hear you. But, I mean, if you really think about it, it's a really crappy way to express something to somebody where, let's say you just can't afford it. Listen, I'm sorry, I know you want it more and I wish I can give it to you, but this is what I can afford. I'm giving you the best that I can. I'd rather you say that if it's in that ballpark. If it's, I don't know, cooking. Listen, I'm not the best chef in the world. I didn't learn how to do certain things. I learned from my mother and, she barely cooked. I learned from my father and he barely cooked, but I'm doing the best that I can. I'm going on YouTube and I'm doing the best and can't ask questions in the moment, but I'm doing what I can. All right, cool. But telling somebody, hey, listen, you should be happy you got something. Whoa, that's I mean, think about it. When it's told to you, it don't feel right. It don't sound right. But telling somebody else, you're telling them to settle. You're telling them, yeah, well, I guess you can't do better. So take this and be happy. They can turn around and say no and then turn around and continue to be unhappy because technically they might be unhappy with what you're giving them. So, I don't know. It's a slippery slope to tell somebody they should settle instead of respecting the fact that some people want certain things and just being able to articulate your limitations so that the other person knows and they're not offended or they're not looking for more. And then if they choose to do something else somewhere else, you don't have to be offended. You don't have to feel away because you understand what your limitations are. I know I don't have a truck and I know when it snows in New York, I'm not going to be able to drive people home and get them to where they want to go. I'm not going to feel bad if somebody tells me I'm rather take this truck and get home and you let me know when you get safe and they going where they going. I can't get mad. I understand my limitations. I understand what I can and I can't do. It's really just that simple. If everybody was more honest with themselves and then honest with others, let people know what you can and you can't do. Let people know what you want and don't want. The supply and the demands, the wants and the needs, even your ideas. All those things piggyback off the same concept. So if we can stop being emotional and understand, hey, listen, You want to go do this, and this? All right, I understand it. That's cool. Whether you like it or not, just let them know. Listen, some things I get. You want to be overprotective about it. But at the end of the day, you can't dictate what somebody else wants to do. These are their choices. So why not better learn yourself? Take time to understand what it is you want, you don't want. Understand how much time it takes for you to figure certain things out. Improve the way you think, improve the way you connect the dots, improve the way you figure things out in any area, if it's business, if it's relationships, family, whatever it is, you can sort it out. You can come to an understanding and understand who you are. I simply just keep on engaging with people, learning different ways and customs and ideas, because your way isn't the only way. And there's so many different cultures and there's different tribes and areas and people that come up with different ways of doing things, and you might find something somewhere that better suits you. And the way you've been going about it just might not go well with the way that your personality is, but because of the environment that you in, you think you have to be this one particular way. And in all actuality, you really don't. You can be exactly who you are and go about things in an entirely different way than you've been exposed to, but you'll never know because you've never been outside your comfort zone. 2020 is almost over. We made it this far. A lot of people haven't made it with us. And if it's one thing that I've taken away from all of this is life is short. So you have to appreciate the time that you have while you have it. So if you see somebody, say something. You want to know something, ask. You want to explore and do certain things, don't hold back. Don't let your fears, your doubts keep you from getting out your shell. It's something where we've learned to be fearful of things. Instead of exploring it, we cower. Instead of exploring certain things, we'll dig a hole and we'll just sit there and act like we don't want to go outside and figure it out, or we don't want to explore and see what that was. How else are we going to be able to protect ours if our first instinct is to tuck and run? Sometimes we got to stand tall and assess the situation and see what it really is, and don't let your emotions dictate your path. Let your brain and your logic dictate it, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You're gonna make it to 80 years old and realize you didn't get the life you wanted to live because you was always afraid of what the consequences would be. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to do things and figure it out as you go. Like, we can make the best of situations by simply engaging and evolving and not being afraid to take a fall, take a L, see how it worked out, see what went wrong, and improve it and get better at it. Don't quit, because successful people will tell you they've gone through it all. They took multiple losses, but they stayed to their path. They stuck to what they wanted to do. Like, watch a nature show. Us humans are the slowest. We have brains to think, but yet our bodies doesn't adapt to things because we're cuddled too much. If you watch a nature show and you watch how these new animals, any animal that's birthed, they're born, and within minutes, that newborn is expected to walk and follow the pack. You might not walk as fast, but you're expected to walk. Like, hey, listen, you gotta get up and go. We not gonna carry you. This is life is constantly moving and evolving. What happens when we have a child? We wrap them up and we prohibit them from moving and doing things. Let's remove that. Let's get them out there. Because we were cuddled and we was always protected, we wasn't allowed to go out there and make mistakes. We got to break out that mold. We got to break out that cycle. Allow these kids to make mistakes. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Learn from it. See what happened. See how to improve on it. See how to get better. And once you improve yourself, you're going to find somebody who matches you, or you can find a group of people who you can go here, there, and there, and you can get certain things done. You got shoe stores who specifically sell shoes. You got supermarkets that only sell supermarket stuff as far as groceries. And you got some clothing stores that sells clothes. And then you got Walmart that's putting people out of business. And these super shopping centers because they sell everything. This is the department where they sell groceries, department where they sell clothes, department where they have sneakers. And what have they learned? If they don't do it, somebody else will. The one-stop shop. So keep that in mind. That's our time for the day.